to 7 a.m. So we could be dealing with snow rates as high as about 1 inch per hour. Inch or less of accumulation, but it is going to be enough to impact that Friday morning commute. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Emily. Shots fired by a police officer in the South Chicago neighborhood today. It happened in the 81st block of South Merrill Avenue. Police say they were trying to stop a stolen vehicle when the driver hit their squad car. Someone in the vehicle allegedly had a gun and tried to run away. That's when police say an officer fired a shot. No one was hit. 2 juveniles and 1 adult were taken into custody. COPA is now investigating. A 17-year-old is facing charges tonight in that mass shooting after Chicago's tree lighting ceremony back in November. It happened outside of the Chicago Theater on North State Street. 7 teenagers were hurt. Police say the suspect is also facing charges for an armed robbery of a 38-year-old man later that evening. The 17-year-old's name has not been released because he's a minor. Police arrested him this week in Hyde Park.
If you were inbound on the Ike around mid-afternoon today, you likely got stuck in a major backup. The reason, a police pursuit. Berkeley police say that just after 1:30, they were alerted that Oak Brook police were pursuing a stolen vehicle. As they got closer to the Ike, Berkeley PD successfully deployed spike strips. The stolen vehicle kept speeding down the shoulder before hitting a car that was getting on to 290 between the 17th and 25th Street exits. Police say the driver tried running away after the crash, but was caught. After learning he also had several warrants, he was taken to the hospital with injuries. No one in the other vehicle was injured.
It has now been 5 days since Savannah Guthrie's mother disappeared, and as police continue their search for Nancy, the Guthrie family is making a plea to whoever took her from her home.
Tonight, investigators say no one has been ruled out.
The Pima County Sheriff says there are still no suspects, no proof of life. Sarah Allegre is live in Tucson tonight.
Yeah, and Sarah, you were at the latest briefing just hours ago. What stood out to you?
Well, Scott, Don, more questions still left over rather than answers. But the FBI, they were also there. They shared some new information regarding the ransom letter that was sent to TV stations earlier this week, showing inside that note, deadlines were listed. The Sheriff's Department also adding that despite them saying there's no proof of life for Nancy Guthrie, they still believe she's alive. As the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie enters another day Thursday, authorities speaking directly to whoever is responsible for her disappearance, calling for immediate action.
You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a much worse scenario for you.
The FBI has announced a $50,000 reward for any information leading to Nancy's safe return or the arrest of anyone involved. Nancy was last seen at her Tucson home just before 10 Saturday night after dinner with family. Early Sunday morning, a doorbell camera disconnected at 1:47. Minutes later, software detected someone on camera, but there's no video. By 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected from her phone. Sheriff Nano says that there's no way to recover that video because there's no subscription for the camera.
They've run out of ways to recover any video.
All of this comes after Guthrie's children released an emotional video Wednesday, pleading for their mother's safe return and asking for proof of life.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
Police also addressed ransom notes that have been sent to the local and national media. One of the notes set a deadline for 5 p.m. Thursday. If not met, another deadline was set for Monday.
Any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family.
And authorities say a man from California, he's been arrested for sending fake ransom texts to the Guthrie family demanding Bitcoin payments. But investigators say there's no direct link between those messages and the ransom letter sent to TV stations earlier this week. In Tucson, Arizona, Sarah Allegre, Fox Chicago.
Chicago man's facing a murder charge tonight after the death of a popular charter boat captain last Labor Day weekend. The body of Nabil Abzal was discovered in Lake Michigan. His drowning considered suspicious. Police have charged 34-year-old Alex Trader, who is now accused of hitting Abzal in the 200 block of North Lakefront Trail, causing him to fall into the lake. A daycare teacher in St. Charles charged with attempted bodily harm and endangering children in her care. 23-year-old Giselle Juarez from Sycamore, now accused of giving chewable laxatives to 3 children 2 years old and younger. Juarez turned herself in and was released from custody, awaiting a court date. St. Charles police are now asking anyone with additional information to contact them.
With port traffic poised to grow, picketers at Iroquois Landing warn that safety concerns could also increase.
Chicago is home to the nation's largest inland port. Our Casey Cronus is live with additional details. Casey.
That's right, Don and Scott, with a push to increase port traffic, including possibly here in Chicago. The workers we spoke with say they fear on-site safety concerns could only go up from here. This week, the American Great Lakes Port Association announced it is looking to expand cargo movement between the Great Lakes and the inland waterways system, with the association's president calling it an underutilized asset. Already, close to 700 million tons of cargo is moved each year. That includes steel, limestone, and coal. Those we spoke with feel port traffic will only heighten safety concerns at QSL America, though. QSL is a private company that operates this terminal, also known as NASCO, located at 95th Street and the Lake. The International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, has been organizing the strike line here, though it does not officially represent the employees here. The picketers at Iroquois Landing say they've been here for more than 250 days, claiming unsafe conditions.
Honestly, I would say anywhere between 70 to 80% of the machines that we have here, tires that were severely worn down, brakes that didn't work at all, lighting that was just below standards, machines that had no horns. And these are machines that we use to lift anywhere between 10,000 pounds to 60,000 pounds. We want them to understand that as we arrive with 10 toes, 10 fingers, our lives intact, that's how we want to go to our families at the end of the day.
In the meantime, another labor union, the Illinois Longshoremen's Association, says they represent the workers employed at this terminal as of last November, telling me they are working on a collective bargaining agreement that does address safety. In a statement, QSL said in part, there has been no legal finding of any serious violations against NASCO. NASCO continues to firmly deny all allegations made by Local 150 and has submitted evidence refuting all claims related to unfair labor practices. As for that push to expand port traffic, the Ports Association is launching a regional study. It could mean they bump things up here in Milwaukee or Indiana. Reporting live at Iroquois Landing, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
Well, it's certainly been a busy few days for the Bulls leading up to today's NBA trade deadline. They finished their major overhaul / fire sale of their roster.
Cassie Carlson is here now with more.
Yeah, the Bulls don't like the word rebuild, so they're calling this a stage instead. But they were in full sell mode at the trade deadline, trading away 5 of their 7 players who were on expiring contracts, getting much younger and acquiring a handful of draft capital. Most notably today, the Bulls send guard Ayo Dosunmu to the Timberwolves, along with Julian Phillips. Now, Dosunmu developed into a strong two-way player who's having a career year. He's shooting a career-high 45% from deep and averaging 15 points per game. Here are the other Bulls traded along with Dosunmu. You have Kobe White, who was sent to Charlotte, Nikola Vucevic to the Celtics, and Kevin Huerter to the Pistons. The Bulls acquire guard Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons, Gershon Yasabule, Colin Sexton, Rob Dillingham, Leonard Miller, and Nick Richards, along with 9 second-round picks for 14 second-round draft picks total. VP of Basketball Operations, Arturas Karnisovas, tired of the Bulls being stuck in the play-in.
I think it's being in the middle is what we don't want to do. I think we've seen that for the past 4 years, and we want to change that. And at the stage that we're in right now, I think we have to take a look at different combinations of players. And I'm definitely worried about, so many, new players on the team and how little time we have, for cohesion and get to know each other and all this stuff. But I trust Billy and his staff. They're going to do their best, for the next couple of months to work with this group.
It's essentially a tryout over the last 30 games. We'll have much more reaction coming up in sports and on Chicago Sports Tonight, Scott.
Cassie, thank you for that. The first installment of Cook County's property tax bills being pushed back.
This all began with a delay in last year's second installment bills. Terrence Lee is here. Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas not mincing words about this.
And she usually doesn't mince her words, Dawn and Scott. She says this is on Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. Here's what happened. Last year, property tax bills got delayed for months. There were tech problems. But when we talked to Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas on Chicago Live, she said this didn't have to happen. 10 years ago, the county signed a contract with the tech company. They were supposed to modernize, as they say, their property tax system in 3 to 5 years, but that didn't happen. Instead of keeping the old system running, Pappas says the board shut it down. They only used the new one, and she says the new one doesn't work, so the bills couldn't go out. She says people in Cook County are still waiting on $168 million in refunds.
We can't write any checks because there's no system to send the checks out. I don't think very highly of this company. I asked the Board of Commissioners and Preckwinkle 7 years ago to cancel this contract. I've written 25 letters on it. And you know what? Like talking to the wall. It's like looking for toilet paper in the bathroom. Everybody's like sucking their thumb and nobody listens.
All right, the county's chief information officer made the call to not run both systems at once. But Pappas says Preckwinkle hired him, so it's on her. Reached out to Preckwinkle's office. They're looking over the comments and will get back to us. They also said there's a lot of misinformation out there. Scott.
All right, Terrence, thanks for that. Still ahead of the news at 5, there is a new report on Chicago's budget claiming the city's $1 billion gap is actually way higher.
And the next time you get a speeding ticket, you won't need to wait for it to be mailed to the clerk's office before you can pay it.
Chicago's City Council recently passed a budget that closed a $1 billion gap without the mayor's support.
But a new study out today says the deficit is actually way bigger than that. Political reporter Paris Schutz has been looking into this. So how much bigger?
You're not going to believe this number, but this is a report from the Truth in Accounting. It's a group, it's a watchdog group. They say the number is really 41 billion, not 1 billion, 41 billion. Yeah. All right, so let me explain how they factor this number. They basically include all the pension debt, all the borrowing that the city's undertaken, and then they combine it with Chicago public schools. Now, in Chicago, CPS is a separate body of government, so that's not included in the city's budget debt. Truth in Accounting is including that, and we know that CPS has its own long-term budget struggles, closing nearly billion-dollar budget deficits every year, pension underfunding, lots of borrowing. And so Truth in Accounting says this is a more honest number for what the city is facing.
We think the voters are actually not getting what they really are able to pay for. And our report shows that, because the $41.1 billion is our methodology of showing you all of the liabilities that Chicago has.
So that would break down to $43,000 per taxpayer. They give Chicago a letter grade for its finances. You can guess what that grade is, but Chicago's not alone. New York City also gets an F for its finances.
You were also busy today watching things that were happening in Washington, and there's one thing in particular that people can't stop talking about.
Yeah, this is the 74th annual prayer breakfast on Capitol Hill, where a bipartisan group of lawmakers led by President Trump come together with faith leaders to offer prayers. And President Trump was a keynote speaker, took the podium, used his time there to talk about his usual grievances, Democrats, quote-unquote stolen election. He called Republican Representative Thomas Massie a, quote, moron. But then Democratic Illinois Congressman Jonathan Jackson gave a prayer, and let's take a look at how Jackson's time in the podium went.
We pray that he would be mindful of the poor, and that he would be invested in the elevation, the alleviation of suffering happening on farms in the Midwest, in the families preparing to bury their loved ones in Minneapolis. Remind him that we are all Americans, all made in the image of God, and that none of us are free unless all of us have our freedoms protected.
So look at that, standing just inches behind him, or perhaps feet, Congressman Jackson offering some subtle criticisms of President Trump in that prayer, at the prayer breakfast. Now, afterwards, they had a cordial exchange. They shook hands. Didn't look like Trump was affected by it at all, and seemed to say, if you read his lips, nice job, good job, thank you very much. So we'll have to speak with Congressman Jackson about that exchange, but very, very interesting moment in Washington today.
It was, and he had some other lines that were very pointed, like people are not lazy, they're tired,
right,
that kind of thing.
Right, and they're subtle, and if the president wasn't fully paying attention, perhaps he missed them. We don't know. But President Trump showing no reaction there, and seeming to you know, again, have a cordial exchange with the congressman, right? And by the way, Congressman Jackson has been a fierce critic of President Trump.
All right, Paris, thank you. All right, got a speeding ticket? The process to deal with it is speeding up. In Cook County, the Office of the Clerk of the Circuit Court has launched a pilot program for e-citations. The clerk says it has modernized the process and cut delays. So if you get a moving violation, you'll be notified now via email or even text. You can still mail in a check, pay it online, or show up in person. But this new system speeds up how you're sent the ticket. In the past, it started with officers giving you that paper ticket. No more.
We're making it an electronic ticket instead. So the officer will write the ticket on a handheld device. The information will be transmitted electronically to the local law enforcement agency. Then they send it to us, and it's accurate. We don't have to decipher handwriting, and we get it between 24 to 48 hours instead of 7 to 10 or even 2 weeks.
You can still contest it in person. You will soon be able to contest the ticket online as well. Multiple municipalities and county agencies are already using this system. The city of Chicago, she says, is next, joining the system by the end of the year. Everything is modern nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls. I know you use a lot of models to tell us the forecast.
That's right, we sure do. So we had a little bit of snowfall out there earlier today, just very scattered in nature. Right now, we have temperatures in the 20s and 30s. And for the most part, many of us right now are under dry skies. We do have that cloud cover around, but late tonight into early tomorrow morning, we do have another round of snow that's going to be here. So Futurecast taking us throughout this evening. Notice by 9-10 p.m., temperature-wise, we're about the same. We're going to be in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. So we're going to have those southwesterly winds tonight, keeping temperatures rather steady. But then notice going into the early morning hours, by about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're seeing some heavier bursts of snow moving to the southeast through the area. So closer to the lakefront and into portions of northwest Indiana. We could be seeing as much as 1, maybe even on the extreme side, up to 2 inches of snow, but a lot of us are looking at an inch or less from this. So not a major storm system, but it's certainly going to be enough to coat the roadways out there late tonight and into that Friday morning commute. So just plan ahead that we may have some slick conditions out there tomorrow morning. Your 5-day forecast tomorrow, 37. We're in the 20s then going into the weekend. Saturday, partly cloudy. We start to see a little bit more in the way of cloud cover early next week, but temperatures are looking fantastic. We are going to be in the 40s on Monday and Tuesday.
We are celebrating the 40-year anniversary of the '85 Bears winning Super Bowl 20, and Dan Hampton is joining us.
The really cool part about this anniversary is, for the first time in my lifetime since we played in the Super Bowl, not only I, but a lot of other people believe we have a team that is on a trajectory to possibly go and play and win a Super Bowl again. So it only increases the excitement.
We had Peggy Kaczynski on the show recently, and she said she sees a lot of similarities between Ditka and Ben Johnson and their personalities, kind of how they're not afraid to push the limits a little bit more. She's like, they can dazzle you at the podium. They can give it right back to you. They kind of have this edge to them as well. Do you see that at all?
Well, we never saw Ditka with his shirt off, but I will tell you, you know, they both are alpha males. They both expect excellence and accountability. That's what you have to be. We haven't had it forever. We've had a bunch of guys trying to be friends with the players. To hell with that. You've got to hold their feet to the fire and say, this is what you have to do if you want to play for me. And those are the parts of the equation that Ben Johnson understands and he brings. The one thing is, again, you know, Ditka had been to a number of Super Bowls with Dallas, so he had a certain belief in, you know, his plan. Ben Johnson, to my knowledge, I don't think he's been a part of a team that's gone to a Super Bowl, but you can tell the reason he came here to Chicago wasn't for the money or a better job. He wants to be a part of a Super Bowl, and I think it's going to happen for him pretty quick.
Across America is next. We take you to California, where a daycare worker is seen on camera doing something shocking.
Also, we're taking you to Maryland, where you can help animals while honoring that not so nice ex of yours. Just a horrific scene in Los Angeles today. A car crashing into a grocery store in Westwood. 2 people killed, 5 others injured, and 3 of them tonight are in serious condition. Chopper footage shows the vehicle in front of the store, a massive law enforcement presence. No word tonight on whether or not the driver crashed on purpose. We are working to get more details. We will update you when we learn more. Police looking into something that happened at a California daycare.
A worker caught on camera throwing a shoe at a 5-year-old girl who is autistic. The footage from January 16th in the classroom, the woman in the light-colored sweater, you see it, takes off her shoe and hurls it at the child, hitting her ear. The girl immediately starts crying. The family is also shocked that there were 2 other employees in the room when the incident happened, and both failed to report what happened. The director of the daycare, though, defending her business.
How do you see a kid be abused and not take action? How do you not speak up? The video shows me, their reaction shows me that they were comfortable in what they did.
This is not a representation of my school. It's a representation of a bad hire. We don't approve of abuse. I've been doing this for too long. I have a heart for kids. I love what I do. I love children.
All 3 employees in the video have been fired. The sheriff's department says that there is an active child abuse investigation.
The Boar's Head Deli meat plant tied to that deadly food poisoning outbreak back in business. The Virginia site just restored its operations more than a year after it was shut down due to that listeria outbreak that claimed the lives of 10 people, sickening dozens of others. Boar's Head says the facility has been completely revamped and also tested to ensure there is no additional contamination.
Disneyland putting a spin on Till Death Do Us Part for some newlyweds. Starting this July, couples can tie the knot right on the front steps of the theme park's Haunted Mansion attraction. The spooky ceremonies will take place in the mansion's courtyard before the park opens and are limited to 25 people. Wedding packages include the person to perform the wedding, special decor, photography, and transportation. But love beyond the grave isn't for the faint of heart. Prices range between $25,000 and $40,000.
Do you have an ex who perhaps was a bit malodorous, maybe a little stinky? The Maryland Zoo has an interesting way for you to remember them. They're calling it Dollars for Dung. Yeah, D-U-N-G. All you got to do is donate $5. The zoo will name a pile of dung after your ex. The money is then used to fund the zoo's conservation efforts both in Maryland and in native habitats around the world.
It's a zoo. There's lots of poop. We don't talk about that as much, but this came out of, like, grossly enough, like a lunchtime conversation, and it's sort of spiraled into this.
Second time around they're doing this. Last year, they got donations from 30 different countries, raising just under $10,000. Still ahead of the news at 5, a McDonald's in Zion being honored.
We'll tell you how much they raised to support the Ronald McDonald House. Now, at the bottom of the hour, there's controversy in the city of Hobart. It's all over a possible Amazon data center.
Little scattered snow today, and we're not out of the clear just yet, but the good news, and this is very good, we're gonna be warming up soon.
First, a voice once reduced to a headline is finally being heard in full. For decades, the world knew her only as a shadow, a Jane Doe.
But behind that label was a teenager, a young girl whose life was forever altered after crossing paths with the disgraced singer R. Kelly. Now at 41 years of age, Chicago native Roshana Landfair is stepping forward, telling her story through her new memoir.
For the first time, she's sitting down with a local journalist, lifting the veil and telling the story in her own words. Tia Ewing has more.
When did you realize, after all of the abuse that you endured at the hands of R. Kelly, that you were put on public display by way of a video? When did you realize your face was shown and people around the city of Chicago had seen this tape of you?
I was about 17 years old. I was devastated when I found out. I was very scared. I did not want that person to be me.
Did you ever expect that that tape would be seen? I mean, that's child pornography.
Right.
Did you ever expect that tape to be seen in the public? Did you even know he was recording?
I did know he was recording because that was one of, mostly all of his sex acts were recorded. So yes, I did know. I didn't know exactly what was happening because it took a while to know that I was being fed champagne while that action was happening. And it took a really long time for me to view the tape because I never wanted to see what other people saw and the mockery they made of me. So when I finally did, I didn't even know that I was drinking at age 14 when those things were happening.
What made you come out now?
There never would have been a good time. But as an adult woman, as a mother, it was very important to me to not live in shame or hurt and just turn my pain into purpose.
Why are you getting emotional? What are you feeling?
So many people still blame me for what took place. If you look at my 14-year-old picture, think about your daughter, your friend, your goddaughter, your niece, and put yourself in that person's shoes and understand that that's a lot of weight to carry at such a young age. But I'm here today, I'm alive and present.
When you say people blame you, they're blaming you in 2026?
I'm still getting death threats. I'm still being harassed. I'm still the R. Kelly girl who got urinated on. You know, there's no mercy in that, but I'm not trying to convince those people of otherwise. I'm just here to do the healing for people who have gone through similar situations as me. It took a lot of forgiveness of myself, the people around me, and just really confronting who I really was. Once I knew how to take the blame back for myself and understand I was 14 and this person was 18 years older than me, I no longer blamed myself. You know, when you become a mom and a parent, you see things differently, and there's no way that that should have happened to me.
It shouldn't have happened. In your book, Sparkle's name is mentioned maybe over 100 times. What do you make of what she's come out and said as a result of your interview and your book coming out?
I just wanted to be clear that I don't look at my Aunt Sparkle as grooming me for Robert. That is not my interpretation of what happened. She did advise me on certain things, but Robert groomed me, not her. And also, it's very complex, her role in the entire situation. Everybody was focused on what they wanted and what they needed out of the situation, and I do appreciate the fact that she did reach out to authorities and she was on my behalf, but it's just a lot more complex than what was explained.
Understood. What is your family dynamic now with everything that's happened in your family? Because you do outline some of the things that have happened in your family. What is that dynamic like for you?
It's pretty segregated. You know, a lot of my family members are reaching out to me, saying how proud they are of me, how much they love me. We do have strong relationships, and they have apologized. And I've also had to apologize to them because it works both ways. Like, I was not perfect in the situation either. So we're all a work in progress, and I'm praying that this book brings complete healing to my family.
Roshana Lanfair was introduced to R. Kelly by her aunt Sparkle at 13. Lanfair was in a singing group at that time. Her aunt was a singer on R. Kelly's label, and that aunt did release a statement saying she reported R. Kelly's abuse to DCFS. Lawyers for R. Kelly, they also released a statement saying they haven't received an advance copy of the book. It's titled Who's Watching Shorty? Reclaiming Myself from the Shame of R. Kelly's Abuse, and it is available right now everywhere you can buy books. And to watch the full sit-down interview with Lanfair right now, you can go to Fox Local Chicago. Scott and Dawn.
All right, Tia, thank you for that. The fight continues over a proposed Amazon data center in Hobart. In about an hour, there's a public hearing over a fill permit.
But keep in mind, Hobart City Council already approved the plan. Brett Bagansky live outside the high school there. Brett, some residents trying to stop the project.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they're fighting it in the form of 2 different lawsuits that they filed against the city of Hobart. And one example they gave me today is they were telling me that city council ended up moving forward and approving this Amazon data center project without having a public listening or feedback session. They just told me that they went ahead and approved the project. So tonight at 6:30 here at Hobart High School, the Plan Commission is potentially holding a vote on what's called a fill permit. This is about addressing any kind of environmental concerns, or they might have some questions about how much ground they're digging up or moving around, if there's any potential water environmental impact concerns right here. So I met with some residents who are against the project, and they said this meeting tonight should have happened before council approved this $11 billion project. So they also told me council has still not given them a site plan or conducted a study on, once again, the environmental impacts this project could have. So another example they gave me is how many buildings are going up at the site. And the mayor told me today over the phone there could be up to 25 buildings, but that's not a guarantee.
We don't know what type of generators are going to use in these buildings. We want transparency, but before approvals happen, not after. How can we have any type of meaningful input when permits are being approved before the city and community understands what's getting built there?
And the mayor did get back to me. He declined an on-camera interview tonight, but he sent me a lengthy statement. And later tonight, you'll be able to see that full statement on our website, fox32chicago.com. So Amazon also pledged $47 million to the city of Hobart, and that's not all. They also plan to pay the city $45 million, then $43 million, then $42 million. And that's going to be in installments of what's called construction milestones or projections right there. What those specifically are, we still don't know. That's also been a moment of contention here. But I'm going to be in this meeting today. I'll have much more for you tonight at 9 o'clock. But for now, we're live in Hobart. Brett Bagansky, Fox Chicago.
Okay, he's bundled up for good reason, really cold out there, but we've got our first full weekend in Feb, and that means we are inching closer to springtime, Emily, and you've got the warm-up to prove it.
We do, but not until next week. So actually over the weekend, we have temperatures that are taking a little bit of a dip again. So tomorrow's going to be one of our warmer days, upper 30s expected. We're back down to the 20s on Saturday. But then next week, we are counting on high temperatures that are going to be in the 40s. Earlier today, we had scattered snow showers. For right now, a lot of us are just kind of locked in with clouds. But tonight, after about 3 a.m., we're going to see another fast-moving system move through, bringing us some light to moderate snow tomorrow morning, just in time for that Friday morning commute. So plan ahead, we could have snowy, slick roadways out there. Many locations are looking at around an inch or less of accumulation, but there is a chance that with some of those heavier bands that develop, that we could end up seeing up to around 1.5 inches or 2 inches closer to the lake. So something to watch for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we're just going to see scattered snow showers, and then that's going to taper off going into your weekend. For tonight, 27, so fairly steady temperatures tonight. Your 3-day forecast, 37 degrees tomorrow. Dry skies on Saturday. Going into Sunday, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover. Temperature-wise, we should be in the low 30s before those 40s come our way on Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Fox 32 News.
All right, pennies. We're literally talking about pennies. They can help families stay together during the worst moments of their lives. And McDonald's in Zion just proved it.
Terrence's back. They won Most Improved for the Roundup program.
Yeah, and you guys have probably been asked yourselves, the program where they ask you if you want to round up your total on your bill. It's that simple. Most people don't even notice the change. Maybe you've said yes without thinking twice, but this store did something different. In January last year, they raised just $68. By December, though, $2,600. The difference, the crew really started talking to customers about where the money goes, to the Ronald McDonald House. And that's where families, of course, can stay close to their kids in the hospital. Ali Lopez manages the store.
This money is staying local. These are your customers. These are the community. And that's why we're so happy to, reward you and be happy for all of your success at the restaurant.
We did have a big increase because we're able to know what Ronald McDonald's is and how we could explain it to our customers, because a lot of them don't know. So being able to just let them know it's for the children, it's for the families, is to help them just have it a little bit easier, even though they're going through hard times.
Those pennies add up. Across the region, McDonald's raised $3.5 million this way, and the money, like you heard there, stays local. It helps local families. From Zion alone, 41 families stayed at the houses in the last 5 years.
All right, Super Bowl Sunday will feature a Nazareth Academy standout. We catch up with Seahawks safety Julian Love's high school coach, and Arturas Karnisovas explains more about his approach to the NBA trade deadline when we come back in sports.
Nothing.
Happy feet for those happy penguins at the shed. They are back home after spending a little time behind the scenes while their habitat got a deep clean. The shed does it every year, but seeing them get excited never gets old.
It's nice to see that they dressed up for the occasion.
Absolutely.
Hey,
nice tuxedos.
We have, speaking of tuxedos and speaking of waddles, I have a lot in common with the penguins these days.
Oh, Emily, you look much better than a penguin. And you know, you have a little bundle in there that is worth it.
Yeah, the waddles are worth it. All right, you know what else is worth it? All of the cold that we've been through.
Penguin weather.
Yes, penguin weather. Well, we're going to get to say goodbye to it here pretty soon because we have a really nice warming trend in store for us going into next week, especially. Now, tomorrow we are going to be warmer than average, but the 40s that we've been teasing, that's going to be here by Monday of next week. Your high temperatures today, we ended up topping out in the upper 20s to low 30s. Typically for this time of the year, your average high is right around 33 degrees. So a lot of us, we were a little bit below that. And at O'Hare, we still have not hit the freezing mark. So it has been since January 16th that we have seen temperatures at or above freezing in the city of Chicago, but I think we're going to get there tomorrow. Your wind chill temperatures right now, it is chilly. A lot of us are sitting in the teens with our feels like. We're still feeling like 21 degrees at O'Hare, 22 in Aurora, same thing in Joliet. 5-day forecast here, mid to upper 30s expected on Friday. Saturday, we're in the lower 20s, and then we start to see that warming trend going into early next week. Notice by Monday and Tuesday, we're expected to be in the low to mid 40s, so that's going to take us a little more than 10 degrees above average, and it looks like it's going to continue as well. So this is your temperature outlook from Wednesday through the following Sunday, so Wednesday of next week until that following Sunday, February 15th, and we are strongly favored to see above average conditions. Are we going to stay in the 40s every single day? Probably not. We're going to see a little bit of fluctuation here or there, 30s a couple days, but still the overall trend, if you were to average it all out through next week and then certainly into next weekend and even the week after that, it's looking like we're going to be above normal. Your satellite and radar, things are rather quiet for right now, but tonight we do have a fast moving system that's going to be bringing generally an inch or less to the area between 3 and about 7 or 8 a.m. So this is going to be impacting your Friday morning commute. Tonight we'll have temperatures that are going to be rather steady, mid to upper 20s. Tomorrow's highs are going to be in the upper 30s, low 20s expected on Saturday. Sunday and Monday, we're clouding things back over, but 40s are on tap by Monday and Tuesday. Cassie.
Thanks, Emily. Out with the old and in with the new and young. Bulls sell off at the trade deadline, but the direction remains unclear. And instead of calling it a rebuild, Arturas Karnisovas is calling it a stage. The Bulls are young. They have a bunch of guards and a bunch of draft assets. The last time the Bulls were in the playoffs was back in 2021-22 with a core of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, and Alex Caruso. The only remaining player from that team is now Patrick Williams. And in return, the Bulls have acquired Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Isaac Okoro, Anthony Simons, and Colin Sexton, their own first-round pick, which was Noah Essengay, and 5 total second-round picks. Now, Arturas Karnisovas explained why it was finally time to move on from that the final core.
Those guys are, were really good for us, but we just couldn't get over the hump. And I think, those decisions have to be made, and the timing was good for us to, to make those moves.
Previous to this point, you weren't necessarily a fan of the word rebuild. I guess, how are you describing the team's direction now, and what does the window look like for you to maybe get back to the standard you're hoping for?
Well, I'm still staying away from that word. I just would call it as a stage that we are in. We have experienced, young players, and we're going to keep on adding player in the draft, and then we're going to address a lot of stuff during free agency. We're going to continue evaluating now for the next 30 games, players that, were here and the new players that are coming in.
So the Bulls traded 5 players on expiring deals. They now have a projected salary of $182 million, which is $5 million under the luxury tax threshold. 5 of their newcomers are also on expiring deals, which would put them under the cap this summer. The Bulls will also have 8 future first-round picks and 14 future second-round picks. Now, at one point, the Bulls were favorites to land Giannis Antetokounmpo, and with AK stockpiling guards and picks, it seemed like they were trying to garner enough to make them attractive to the Bucks. But instead, Giannis is staying put in Milwaukee for now, and there's a chance the Bucks will shut him down for the rest of the season, according to ESPN's Brian Windhorst. Now, NFL honors tonight at the Super Bowl, where Bears fans are on watch to see if Ben Johnson wins Coach of the Year, and Joe Thuney is the inaugural winner of Protector of the Year. But the main award is the Walter Payton Man of the Year. DJ Moore was the nominee for the Bears, and Seahawks safety Julian Love is the nominee for Seattle. Now, Love went to Nazareth Academy and will be the first Naz alum to start in the Super Bowl on Sunday, and he continues to give back to LaGrange Park.
His legacy lives on here at Nazareth because he comes back and he connects with, all the Nazareth football players. So just the example that he is off the field and how he does things the right way and how he gives back to the community. He really has his priorities straight. He does not identify himself as a football player. He knows it's a great vehicle for his family, for his life, and something that's fun, that's not going to last. So that's what makes him so special as a person, and such a great example to all the kids and students here at Nazareth.
Plenty more on how Julian Love continues to give back to LaGrange Park coming up on Chicago Sports Tonight. Tina Nguyen and I are also joined by the Athletics' Joel Lorenzi to break down the Bulls' moves at the trade deadline. And Tina talks Blackhawks now that the NHL is on the Olympic break. That's coming up at 6 on Fox Local and tonight at 9:30 on Fox Chicago. Meantime, the Bears have hired Eric Studsville as their new running backs coach, according to multiple reports. He worked with Ben Johnson in Miami for 2 years. That's it for sports. We'll be right back. All right, a final check of your 7-day forecast. Tonight, we do have snow returning to the area, especially after about 3 a.m. So from 3 to about 7 a.m., just in time for that Friday morning commute, we're going to be dealing with a quick burst of snow to where most areas are going to see around an inch or less. So not a major deal, but again, it's the timing that I think is going to be a cause of concern for us tomorrow. 37 degrees for your high on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are still chilly. 20s and 30s this weekend, but next week, that is where the reward is. We have 40s, maybe even 50s for a couple spots.
Do you know why it's snowing tomorrow?
What's the joke, Dawn? I know it's not scientific.
No, because I just rinsed all the salt off my car today.
Oh, okay.
So of course it's going to snow or rain.
We'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us at 5.
We'll see you tonight at 9.